Product provided by creator. The Horde of Viscount is a game that at first initially could be ignored. But let's ask a question. Does this game have byte for its byte? Let's dive into why. Story. It's a very simple story. You are Whip, a horde hunter who gets found by a ghost named Lash. Together they go through this world, helping villagers and stopping the horde. It's a straightforward story that leads into the action. While in the world of Horde of Viscount, the story and dialogue is given to you by cutscenes and text. As you get to the end, you meet a colorful cast of villagers. They do not provide dull interactions, nor are they just villagers or NPCs. These are NPCs with names and personalities and conversations from funny to surprisingly more serious, as the game's overall dialogue feels more light despite being in a world of monsters. Regardless, I would say these interactions with the villagers feel very Falcom coded in that regard. In my experience, it's not unlike Ys or the Trail series, and I feel like this was an attempt at that level of world building. As for gameplay comes into 3 sections: combat, farming, and customization. Combat is straightforward. Whip is essentially a Belmont. He has weight, his attacks are slow, and initially lacks range compared to his inspirations. And he even has a small learning curve. But in time, one will get used to his control. The sub-weapons are what give this game more action. They have a primary focus on combat, but also have a secondary use for exploration that is more in line with, say, Adventure of Mana or the Zelda games. If there's a jump out of reach, you can use a wing. A stone is blocking your path, use an axe. It's a small addition, but because of it, it gives the game depth in its combat and exploration. The second part, farming, helps the player grow. By collecting various items, one can give them to villagers, or use them to level up your own stats. However, by giving them to villagers, you can increase their rank, and filling out their rank will benefit you with rewards and an upgrade to their location, like more healing items, more weapon refills, and a discount on restoring health. Completing the ranks and a quest will show up, and finishing that quest will give you a unique conversation, a rare item, and the best version of each location. Helping the villagers, while optional, provide a reward system that is genuinely beneficial to the player. And the third and final system is customization. As mentioned, the player grows in level not by experience points, but by giving farm materials to level up. This increases your base stats. There are 3 of them, but the most important is EP. EP, or energy points, is what allow Whip to equip rings to get stronger. By equipping rings, he can get more health, hold more sub-weapons, double jump, critical on attack, pierce an enemy, and so much more. One of these rings is even a reference to Christopher Belmont and his bullet soul from his Game Boy games. It's actually kinda cool. However, how one acquires ring is by playing levels. But here's the thing. That is where the reward system really shines. There are 3 difficulties, and each difficulty and its requirement, when completed, gives you these rings. It gives major incentive to keep replaying levels and getting rewards, and if the higher difficulty is too much, you can always lower it and try later. This alone had a lot of thought put into it, and it shows. The player will have fun experimenting with what they can do with the EP and ring system. Overall, the gameplay is simple, but the 3 aspects put together creates a depth that one will find fun in. The music in this game is plentiful. Each stage, for the most part, has its own theme and feeling. There's more quiet themes, more adventurous ones, creepy ones. It's never a dull moment in this room, and it does the job of carrying the game's atmosphere to its end. This is a soundtrack that, in my opinion, leans more into, say, Link's Awakening and Belmont's Revenge, rather than, I don't know, the Game Boy version of DuckTales, meaning that it's all good. Sound is very crisp and clear. Lastly, there are a few critiques that I have, a few issues that I have with Horde Viscount. While it's far and few, I did want to talk about them. There is the occasional cheap hit that happened, especially on harder difficulties, and while you can duck and look down and have it scroll, I feel like it's better to have, you know, as much action on a single screen as possible. The next are boss fights. While mostly overall, you know, it's good, especially if one balances their level ups and equipment, there's just a couple bosses that I feel I had no choice but to take a cheap shot and damage. And later bosses, especially toward the end, felt a little dragged on, but really just two in particular. However, the first form of the final boss is perhaps the only major complaint that I have. To me, it wasn't really fun fighting him in the first phase. I felt like there was no breathing room for attacking, little space to react to, and really no matter how hard I tried, he could just rush me or do a move that, you know, was hard anticipating. But beside those small complaints, I think I can answer the question, does Horde Viscount have byte? The answer is a very clear and resounding yes. And after around 14 to 20 hours of play, I can recommend it no problem. There's even more hidden things that the player can find out by playing with it. And for its price, it's hard to pass up. This is Neo Belmont saying it's been a pleasure. This is my first major review ever, and I hope everyone checks this game out and tries it out. Everyone, have a nice night.